Hi, my name is Emre Surmeli. I'm a teacher, a meditator, and someone who's utterly fascinated by the mystical and the divine. Recently, I've been delving into the depths of this ancient tool called meditation. And to get deeper in my practice, I've been taking a meditation teacher training with a bunch of beautiful souls. In the beginning of the training, one of them, his name is Musonda, uh, used the analogy of the human being like an instrument, sometimes out of tune. I really liked that analogy. I dug into it a little bit further and found that there's a lot of ancient wisdom and a lot of newer science that suggests that this might indeed be true. So that's what I want to share with you today about the human instrument, how we can tell when it's out of tune, and how we can use meditation to tune it. At least as an example, I'll use my experience with it and hope to inspire you. So, consider how an instrument works. A guitar has strings that vibrate. A flute has a passage that air flows through. When you hit a drum with your hands, it makes noise. The physical characteristics of all instruments dictate how the sound coming out of it sounds. This is known as timbre or its distinct voice. Similarly, humans have distinct physical characteristics. Take our voices, for example. And, humans are a little bit more complex than a regular musical instrument. Our inputs are, what I can tell, some of them at least, are our senses. And these senses are our sight, our hearing, our feelings, our touch, and sometimes even our thoughts. Those dictate how the human sounds as an instrument. But who plays the human instrument then? Is it some divine force? Is it the soul? And there's different types of views on this when you look at history. For example, Plato used the idea of reason, spirit, and appetite as the raw ingredients of a human, and how these three things need to be in harmony with one another, similar to how a tuned instrument sounds good. Rumi, the Sufi poet, saw humans as a flute, where the holes in the flute were things like love and pain, which were imperative for making music. In the Bhagavad Gita, the things like the body, senses, mind, and intellect, these are seen as interconnected forces, and the soul has access to these forces. When the soul uses these forces in harmony, the body can reach higher states of being. So, what about when it's out of tune? With a guitar, we know that the strings might not be tightened in accordance to one another. Therefore, the music coming out of it doesn't sound good. Well, what makes a human out of tune? I think it's something that you can feel. And I've definitely felt the times that I've been out of tune. And I hope that you've had those moments too. Well, then how do we tune the human instrument? With instruments like musical instruments, we have a kind of a reference note. For most Western music, we use the 440 hertz or the note A above the middle C on a piano as this root note to tune our instruments. Tuning a human, I suspect, is a little bit more difficult. For example, there's a lot of things that can make the human out of tune. We're quite literally living in a universe of frequencies. This has been proven from the mathematics of Pythagoras around 500 BC and his work on strings, notes, harmonies, to the works of Johannes Kepler and how he saw the elliptical orbits of planets as these frequencies, and sometimes the distances between the planets respected harmonic distances that we have in music. If you look at the Big Bang, some talk about it as this primordial sound, this originating frequency that everything are just harmonics of that came after. And that can be seen in the cosmic microwave background. With quantum physics, we can think about our universe as made up of information. And through this information, vibrations are what dictate how reality forms itself. So there's a lot of forces around us that are frequencies. From the moment that we're born to the moment that we die, we're surrounded by them, enveloped in them. These frequencies could cause us to be out of tune, but it seems that the human is also vibrating. It's resonating to the frequencies around it. And so to find harmony in the human is a bit of a personal journey. In my journey, and I think a lot of others, meditation has been an imperative tool to be able to use to find how you're out of tune and to figure out ways to tune yourself. For example, for me, meditation has been unraveling my disharmonies in the form of mental afflictions, the things that I clutch onto, like desire and jealousy and anger. Um, these are the things that make me out of tune. And meditative practices like metta, which is loving kindness meditation, or tonglen, which is compassion meditation, it's allowed me to recognize these disharmonies and aiding in a tuning process that's been fostering some sort of a harmony amidst these emotions, therefore making me feel like an instrument that's been out of tune. And when I meditate, it's been helping me find harmony and tune myself. So to conclude, like, I really enjoyed thinking about the human as an instrument. And I think there's merit there. When out of tune, the human creates music that's not so good. They might hurt people. They might be acting from places of scarcity, jealousy. But when in harmony, the human creates beautiful music, love, compassion, kindness. So our words, our actions, our creativity, our care are the notes that we play as an instrument. So I leave you with these thoughts. If we can think of the human as an instrument, can we think of society as a grand symphony? Well, it would be a shame if we were all out of tune, wouldn't it? Thank you very much.